So amazingly enough, every day we're given opportunities to learn how to be free of suffering. Every day things go wrong. Every day someone doesn't agree with us somewhere. Unless, of course, we're spending time alone and it'll be only ourselves that disagree with ourselves. But every day, lots of little things happen where we're not really in agreement with what's going on. And we can offer resistance, or we can offer acceptance and let go. Most of the time people offer resistance, one way or another, and cause suffering for themselves. If you're interested in higher consciousness, you practice let go and acceptance. It sets you free from suffering. Life's not going to change because you want it to change. It's just going to be the way it is. And if you can accept it the way it is, it's pretty cool. If you can't accept it the way it is not cool. And you are not cool because you're suffering. Your choice. Every day, probably hundreds of times, something happens that you would like to be different. This is how I taught myself to be free, to be open, by instead of resisting those things, going, okay. In the beginning, the okay was a little bit dry because I wasn't used to making things okay. I was used to going into resistance because we were all pretty much trained to be like that. And after a while, the okay became warmer until there was a realization that the warmest okays actually made me feel really nice. And whether I went okay or not okay to whatever was happening didn't change what was happening. I could go from not okay and try to change things, or I could go from okay and try and change things. There's a choice, but because we run true to our programming, the likelihood is we go from not okay. If you decide to change that choice and actively practice okayness, and particularly warm okayness, your whole life changes. You don't stress out anymore. You don't suffer in any way the same anymore because you're not resisting. And all that's required is a change of not okay to okay. And this goes with people as well. You know, people do things that are unpleasant. They say things that are unpleasant. They have mannerisms that might be unpleasant. And we can go not okay and suffer because they're the way they are, or we can go okay and not suffer. Whether we go okay or not okay isn't going to change them. But it changes us. It changes our experience of life for the better. And so I watch people suffering every day. I watch them suffering because they're going not okay. And I know that I can't really tell them because they'll get upset with me and make it not okay that I'm telling them. Because that's what people are like. They like to be not told. I was lucky enough to learn about this stuff when I was 19 years old. And so relatively speaking, I haven't suffered that much in this life because I don't resist life. It's not that things haven't gone wrong. Lots of things have gone wrong. Lots of people have, betrayed, stolen, cheated, whatever you want, same as you. But I don't go into resistance. I don't go not okay, I go okay. And then I might move to make a change, but from a place of okayness. The moment we go not okay, we actually close. And that cuts us off from our own hearts, the most valuable thing we can actually have. If we practice okayness, acceptance, we can keep our hearts open. We can keep love flowing. And so you are actually in control of how much love you experience and how much you don't, by the way you think. Your openness and your closedness depend on your okayness with life as it is. It's up to you. I'm not going to suggest for a second that it's easy to change a default pattern of not okayness, which most of you will have. It's hard to change default patterns. You can hear me and agree with me, but changing the pattern would take discipline. You'd actually have to put in the I'm okay pattern for a long time and practice it and have discipline with it to catch yourself when you're going not okay and change it for an okay. But that's up to you. I can't make you do anything, and I don't want to. I did this for myself because I was not into my own suffering. I saw that I was in control if I wanted to be. So I changed default patterns. You know, I'm 65. I started changing them when I was 19. I've been pretty cool for about 45 years. What do you reckon that's worth? To not suffer from resistance to life for 45 years. What's that worth? You can't put $1 on it. It's brilliant. And I've been trying to teach it to people for that long, and I just run into resistance. People don't want to know. Or they do want to know and they don't do anything about it. So I keep trying. Like the mail delivery guy. I deliver the mail. I don't really have an expectation that anyone's ever going to hear me or change themselves. But I deliver the mail because I don't want to see people suffering. I want to see people free. And it's up to you. You've been delivered the mail. Now what you're going to do with it? If I can change me, you can change you.